You know, when I was 18, I got to South Africa when I was 17. At 18, a call was made. I was in Joburg. They said, we got liberty job here in Durban, in Tongaat. I was struggling, staying with my mother, you know. And that time, all she could do was help me with like 5 rand or 10 rand a day, you know, to get some bread and stuff. I got into a bus. They organized the money. You know, I got to Durban. We asked first, what is the job about? They said, no, just send him through here, he's gonna love it, you know. I was nervous, I have to tell you, because me, I don't like surprises, because where we're from, we never got surprises, you know. A surprise is almost like, a surprise, he's dead. Surprise, they sick. Surprise, you got no money. Surprise, you gotta run away from Zim, you see. So I was like, okay, let's get to Durban. I got to Durban. They collected me by the bus station. This is, I'm talking 14 years ago or something. I mean, long time ago. Almost 18 years ago. You know, in Tongaat, right there was a lot of sugarcane. You know, what you see in Tongaat is just like a lot of trucks with a lot of sugarcane. And your sugar, you know, comes from somewhere there. So one thing also that surprised me was a lot of Hindu idols, you know, in the streets and stuff like that, you know. So I'm already like, whoa, this is like Gothic and stuff, you know. So I get to the mosque. Yeah, so our family is Islam. So we got to the mosque. Then my cousin from Zim is like, we will show you the job tomorrow. So the next day, we're walking down the road, and then we turned into the Muslim graveyard. So the Muslim graveyard was there full of bushes and stuff like that. I lie not. I started crying. Ndakatanga kuchema immediately. And I remember saying to myself, Mwari say man rasa. Mwari kukura kwatikaita unonetsa. I mean, even kuya kuno South Africa. Because nonda makura at the age of 18. And it was my birthday week. So what I'm saying in Shona is, I started crying right there at the graveyard. I say, but God, you know, life is difficult. I just got to South Africa, it's my birthday week, I just turned 18, and I thought the job was going to be good, but I'm in a graveyard, and my job is to clean the graveyard. You know, what's next? You know, so I cried. Day and night, I'm crying for like 2 weeks. I didn't want to punk out and just say, look, I can't do this, you know. So I honestly tried for 2 weeks, working in that graveyard there, cleaning it. I don't even know whose grave it is. I'm not related to none of these people, right? But when you're cleaning someone's grave, you learn relation with nature, with the deceased. You learn to understand that it's not just about you. It's deeper than that. But I didn't understand it then when I was 18. I'm like crying, like, get me out of here, man. Get me out of here. 2 weeks later, I think I worked enough money for a bus ticket to go back to Joburg. My mother was furious. She didn't know that that's what the job was. But God put me there, you know, to learn something. You know, when I went to the madrasa when I was 14, they taught us something about death. And they taught us that we should never fear it because it's inevitable. So if death will come to us all, the only thing you can do is prep for it, right? So the type of preparation you can do for it is to prep your mind, prep your soul, your habits, how you live life, your happiness. All of that calculates to just that. So without going further into the whole topic, you know, a graveyard mentality, you know, they taught us about death. And at 14, that's all I was thinking about, day and night, day and night, day and night. And going to the graveyard was almost like at 18, 14 to 18, you know, I'm like, oh, damn. Zimbabwe is falling apart. I ran away thinking life would be good. Here I'm in South Africa, graveyard, you know. So I thought about that, you know, shit. At 14, at Ikra Darul Ilm in Zim, they taught us about this. And they taught us to not fear. And here I'm crying, you know, 2 weeks in. Then I realized that God was telling me, you are in a foreign land. So you have to familiarize with yourself, the people, the country, even those before you, those who are gone. So I had to serve from the bottom. I had to understand the soul, the part of my life which I cut out material thinking, because you know there's certain things that you know you don't need. There's certain things that you don't even need to work for or towards. You know, there's a certain life structure that you don't need to survive on. So for me, living such a life, working in the graveyard at 18, went back to Joburg. I worked for the Pakistanis for about 2 years, getting paid 180 rand a week, carrying sheets that makes your bed covers, you know, all of that, your pillowcases and stuff. And we were working in a warehouse. We were closed up somewhere in a warehouse in Joburg then, every day, 480 rand. And that is when South Africa was actually beautiful, you know. Still, they were talking about Kwerekweres, but we were just a few then. We were a lot, but not as things are now. And then, I mean, Mzansi was popping. It's beautiful, man. People was happy, you know. People could afford to buy stuff, you know. Most South African families, I mean, they were technically middle class. Then 20 years later, life has changed, you know, for the old, the new are just like, you know, the new generation Zimbabweans, you know, born with, you know, you inherit nothing, you know, all you just inherit is pain, you know. Our elders has things, you know, but they don't share it with us, you know. How many times are we gonna hear about, you know, apartheid, you know, about colonial times, or about how the West don't want us to do this and that, because our people are in power, you know, but we still find ourselves with nothing, you know. So I just chose to not really want too much, or even want to even be in the public office, even none of that stuff. I don't care about that stuff. I just want to be liberty, you know. Before I created Lip Connect Africa, I was working in the internet networking world for about 10 years. You know, I actually started that gig before university. Then I carried on with that gig to a point that like, okay, just work here permanently. And one of the people whom I worked for is technically one of my partners in Lip Connect Africa. When I created Lip Connect Africa, after I resigned, I was like, yo, bro, Kunra, come help me out. Or he saw that actually I was being sabotaged. Certain people making my network line slow and stuff like that. That's when we were not really dealing with cool people. So now we we're moving right. And I worked hard for that. And from the graveyard, I told myself, Lib, you're gonna have to work hard now, you know. Because if you don't, this right there, that is it. So I did restaurants, taking myself to a network college, IT intellect. Yeah, A plus, N plus. How do you fix a computer? How do you break it apart? Introduction to networks. Then 2008, got to Stellenbosch. I didn't even know Stellenbosch existed. Something took me out. When I got here, I was like, this place, you know, it's got a soul of lit. I love this place. You know, people are cool, they're diverse, you know, but they're beautiful. They got a beautiful heart, you know, so I wanted to stay and grow here, you know, instead of running again or going somewhere, you know. So it was important for me to find myself, to find my worth, to find liberty, you know. So when I did that, when I found liberty, I realized power is really nothing to me. You know, power is just another way of, you know, even it's like showing off to a girl. Say, yo, see, short, I'm wearing this type of shoes. You know, I don't need to say nothing to nobody. You know, you are free to say something to yourself. You know, I'm free to say something to myself. And we are free to advise one another. And again, no one is to take advice from anybody. You know, it's a matter of choice. But one thing I know that we went to school, you know, to be prepped for the world. And certain information we got there, some of it we didn't even want it. But they gave it to us anyway, and they say, you know what, you can work with it later. So, being in South Africa and getting to this point where I can speak like this and, you know, say what I say, don't take it from a point of like, Lib is maybe aiming for the office, or Lib wants the next check, or Lib wants, you know, 1 million followers. I don't really care about that. That's why you haven't even heard me asking you to subscribe or follow, none of that stuff. I don't need it. Because my work is important. It will always be important. You know, my work has changed Africa's mentality. My work has brought a different way of how Africans think. You know, we didn't have role models, some of us, majority. Or we had role models that were more of a European descendant. And we cried so much, right, to have our own. So we started to create our own, the Motsepes, you know, the Masiwas, you know. In this generation, I just want to work for my generation, you know, and just be comfortable to know that I did my part. You know, when I get to my older ages, you know, when I'm speaking to my grandchildren and the youth and our people, when they're asking me questions, Lib, what did you do? I should be able to tell them what I did. I at least did something. I said something. They didn't like what I said, but I at least said something. You know? So, to me, really, it's not important whether somebody likes or dislikes, as long as they get informed. And in life, I mean, we move further when we just inform one another. So information is important to move it correctly. So how many ZEP kids are ready to work in the graveyard? You know, how many ZEP kids are ready to work jobs that are meaningless? None, right? Exactly. Because we want fair opportunities, right? Exactly. So let's then reason with our brothers and sisters in South Africa without having emotions and feelings and calling out one another dictators, because we don't even have power to change the office. Last time I checked, I don't look like Mnangagwa. I don't look like Ramaphosa. So I don't think I can change. I can say nothing that can change anything, and that's not actually the point I'm trying to make. The point I'm trying to make is to bring awareness. Because when you bring awareness, that's when you know that you are actually living life, you know. You also giving a view. So it's easy to comment and say, nah, unopenga, or you don't know what you're saying, or you're just crazy, and name call me all day. It's easy to do that. But what's not easy is to go on the mic and video like this and talk to the people and just try to bring your opinion and concerns, or be it facts, information, or help, without actually being problematic or throwing insults and calling people names, or actually being a defamation of character, you know. So it's important for us to just reason with one another. So for me, Liberty Bonali, life was not easy in South Africa. And I had to work outside the industry or the government for me to find myself, you know, of which right now, a lot of people, some of them will need government help, you know, of which that's where the issue now is, of which most South Africans are crying. So I want us to have a healthy dialogue. I want us to help one another, merge one another, you know. I'm sure by the end of the day, most Zimbabweans will remain in the country. They'll be allowed to stay, will qualify, and they will be happy. But one thing is, when you do that, value your brothers and sisters, love them, appreciate them, hear their other view, you know, because it's very important for us to be clear, you know, and for us to have a conscious mind and to think about others before we think about ourselves. So, you know, I have my wisdom, man. You know, I've created a world I really love. You know, art. You know, the network world. You know, I stay in there. I'm happy. So don't worry about me becoming a dictator, because I'm not gonna be holding any office post. None of that. I'm just gonna be making art and continue being happy, and now and then give you our comments, opinions, concerns, advice to the youth that needs my advice, and to spread the love, you know. So again, I'm back to work now. I really can't be doing this all the time, you know what I'm saying? So I'm peacing out here. Have a lovely week coming ahead. Tomorrow is Sunday. For those going to church, you know, keep all of us in your prayers. That's what's up. Yeah. God bless y'all, man. We're beautiful together. Let's appreciate one another. Let our comments be beneficial, helpful, and reasonable. You know, then we all can just we can all just treat one each other, one another perfectly. So that's what's up, Lip Connect.